Ah, boy. Oh, that's where the view was.
Welcome to the Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to the Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, the first guest that I have today has been coined as the last protege of Marvin Gaye. It's a unique occasion to have our guest here today because on this date, April 1st, 1984, Marvin Gaye was killed one day before his 45th birthday. So, without further ado, please welcome entertainer, singer, dancer, and actor, Sesil Jenkins. Greetings, Sesil, and
Hey.
Actor's Choice.
Hi, Ron. How are you?
What a day for you to be here, sir.
Yeah, what a day it is, sir.
Before we begin, please tell us where you were born.
I was born in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
Norfolk, Virginia is Hampton Roads. It's a seven-city region, which Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Newport News, and other areas.
Okay.
All 7 cities.
Okay. So now I have to ask you this. When was the first time that you met Marvin Pence Gaye Jr.?
Wow. When I first met him, it was in 75, 1975, by way of telephone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And of course, it was a day that I'll never ever forget.
Uh-huh.
And I met him through a friend of ours by the name of Fathers Griffin. We called him Tex, and Tex was his bodyguard, and
Yes.
actually a bodyguard for quite a few artists.
Wow.
That's how we met him in 75, the day I'll never forget.
Goodness.
Yeah.
We got a picture, number 9 there, Tony, if you will. This is a picture of none other than Marvin Gaye, Pence Jr. Yeah, there. No, not that one, but that's okay. That's fine. We'll take that one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How long did you two guys get along with each other? I always ask that question because you know how it is. It's hard when you're out here being a singer, and here you are, a junior, working with this guy, a senior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a blessing, Ron, a true, true blessing because I learned so much from him. And he took me into his family as though I was always there and as though I was birthed by his mother. And she loved me very dearly, would help me out many times and would assist me. And my mother and her talked on many occasions in regards to me. But we got along very well because I've always been a conscious minded person. And that being the case, he was always enthused about that. And we could always have conversations that were about things that were happening in the world and about God.
Wow.
Always.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had a, let me see, he had the there. Oh, there. Oh, thank you, Tony. Oh, that's my picture. That's the Marvin Gaye picture. When you see that, you say to yourself, my goodness, this guy, look at this man. Hat with his little cap on, had his little cap on, you know. That was him. That was him.
That was his signature.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was his
He had a brother.
Yes. Yes.
Frankie Gaye.
Uncle Frankie, there's no words that can explain about Marvin, but however, there's no words that could give you the true identity about who Uncle Frankie was.
Yes.
Yes, this man and I, when Marvin was off running or where he was going out overseas or
Uh-huh.
just actually out of the cities and so forth, Uncle Frankie and I would work on quite a few things. And we wanted to start a record company. That was one of our goals. And Marvin loved the idea when we finally ran it by him, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, Uncle Frankie was quite an artist, man. Quite an artist.
What was the family name used with the Marvin Gaye organization?
They called me Prince, you know.
Huh. Not King.
It's only for a few minutes.
Okay, got you, got you. I understand that you sang at Marvin's funeral, seen through the media,
Right.
CNN and others. There was 10,000 people that came out for that wedding, that funeral. Oh,
Yes, it
oh
was.
God. Everybody was there. Mr.
Yeah, they were, Ron.
Huh?
Everybody was there.
And you sang. You sang.
Yes, I did at his funeral.
Wow.
Most definitely. And was chosen by his mother and Uncle Frankie to do it.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, man. When I think about that, it just amazes me because here I am on this particular day, remembering the very first day as a 13-year-old standing out in front of a shoeshine parlor singing this man's music.
Mm-hmm.
How I would be singing his music in our family circle with my parents and so forth, not knowing that years later that my journey would take me to him. But as a spiritual minded person and a Bible student at such a young age, it did. And even right today, I'm still amazed at all the things that have transpired and happened throughout the years and
Yes.
my association with him and the family.
Mm-hmm. Marvin and Marvin, but you lived at his house. Is that correct?
I did. When in other words, I did ended up getting with Miss Anna Gordy Gay,
Mm-hmm.
his first wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a record during the time called I Do Baby that had been written by my cousin Michael Buckholz. And I embellished upon it and reproduced it and reworded in certain things. And I had dropped it. I was on tour with Rick James. I was the opening act for Rick when he got out of prison. And what ended up happening was I get this call about the son, and I either had to do one or two things: be used to help with that issue,
Uh-huh.
or go out on a tour. And I chose the family as opposed to that. And the record was pretty hot, I thought.
Wow.
But anyway, that's what happened. So I was living up at the up in Hollywood Hills with Mrs. Gay, and of course the family.
Wow.
And of course, yes, I did live at the home.
That funeral, like I said, I will never forget that as long as I live.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, was it unbelievable or what?
Yes.
I mean, even the viewing
Mm-hmm.
the day before the viewing was like none other. I of course was chosen. The family we were chosen to protect his body there in the casket, and people were coming in and going out and coming in and going out
Yes.
all night long.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
I watched Stevie, of course, he's blind. He couldn't see anything. And they led him to the casket. And he put his hand down and he on Marvin's chest. And he moved his hands up his face. And he felt him. And tears came out of his eyes. Those two guys are good buddies. You know that.
Yeah, they were very close.
Very close. I'll tell you something real quick. I've done a lot of things in my life. I got a star for Marvin Gaye. I helped him get a stamp.
Yes, you did.
16 years for that. I never met the man in my life.
That's amazing, and I know about your efforts because before it all took place, you and I did talk.
Yes.
And you were telling me what you was doing, and you had your little clipboard, and you were getting petitions and everything. I signed that petition.
Yes.
I remember signing that petition and talking with you about it. And so your efforts would never go unnoticed by me, not one time.
Wow. Something to do. I call it STD, something to do. I'll never forget it. It's
Yeah.
almost our life. There's something that came up. You wrote a book called The Last Protege. Tell us about that, please, sir.
Okay, now it's not completed.
Oh, it's not completed.
It's not
Okay.
completed. I've yet to release it, but it is coming. It is
Okay.
coming. It's called Loyal Love
Uh-huh.
from the Protege.
Right.
And it's about my history. It's about from the embryo of me in my mother's belly until I became the actual protege of Marvin
Uh-huh.
Gaye. And what was so great about that was during the time he wasn't working and he was actually leaving Motown at the time.
Yes.
We did a great deal of communicating about how he was going to produce an act on me. So he sort of sent me out there to go find my act, and I
Yes.
did. I went and found the act, and uh, we called ourselves Cecil and Lujan. Of course, the family name was Prince. That's what the family called me during the time. That's a story that we'll talk about another time. But
Okay.
I used my real name, which is Cecil, and I switched Cecil around and put S's and made it Cecil, which is the
Yes.
correct pronunciation of the name. Yeah, so we became Cecil and Lujan. And right now, what I'm doing is working on a nonprofit organization that's so powerful. It's called TBOC,
Uh-huh.
TBOC. And
Right.
TBOC, Ron, stands for Take Back Our Children, because we are determined to take our children back.
Got you.
They've been manipulated and bamboozled and tricked into doing the things that they're doing today. And we, as adults in the older crowd of them, we allowed it to happen, unfortunately. We allowed them to raise themselves through the music and all the other things. It was music that created this mess. It's going to take music to get us out of it. And
Well,
T-Bach is moving forward to make that happen.
got you. Are you
Yeah.
still performing?
I am. Unfortunately, at this particular time, I just went through a couple of heart procedures.
Okay.
I am extremely healthy, recovering from that. I can perform today. There is a tribute to him that's being held in Las Vegas by his sister Zeola Gay, and I
Uh-huh.
won't be performing on that this year. I have in the past. But however, we have a goal set for when Cecil and Lujan will start up again as we still gain better health as well. So I'm ready and willing now, but getting stronger to do so soon, Ron.
Wow. Wow. What a guy. What a guy. And on this date, 1984,
Yes, sir.
one day before his 45th birthday.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I
The
was
day before his 45th.
Frankie and his wife. They were living in a building right next door to where the family lived at.
Yes, yes.
I make it
A
a,
great deal
huh?
of things transpired during that time. A great
Yes.
deal of things transpired leading up to it.
Uh-huh.
I ended up getting in a fight, and I'm not a fighter. I wasn't big as a wet noodle, but the goal was to eliminate and to remove all the things that he promised me that we were going to do. See,
Uh-huh.
because I used to go back and forth to him and ask him, when are we going to go back to what's going on? That's what he loved about me.
Yes.
I kept it real with him, and my loyalty to him was phenomenal. When will we go back to what's going on, Dad? And he, in turn, said, Prince, I can't do it right now. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, why can't we do it? He says, because I need a hit record first. And when I asked him, I said, what do you mean by that? Need a hit record by that? Let's just do it. And so he ended up coming out with an album called In Our Lifetime, which is a message album. It's not a what's going on,
Yes.
but he heard me, you see, as I pleaded to him to do so. So he tells me, let me get this hit record, and then we'll go back to what's going on, because then the people won't think, and the haters won't think, that was a concern, that I did it just to get a hit record, because what's going on was so humongous, it'll never be outdone anyway by anybody, not even him himself.
Mm-hmm.
But the point was to get back to the messaging, and that's where I wanted us to go. And so when we got back there, Ron, we had Sexual Healing was humongous. But along with a hit record of such magnitude a multitude. You can imagine what came along with it. And that's how I ended up getting into a fight, because I felt as though I had to fight to save his life, because the people who were even up under him at the time on the tour that went out were not protecting him as they should have been doing. And I got in this fight, and he came out of the house with the Bible, because I fought right behind the building where Uncle Frankie was living, which is on the property. And I'm behind that building. The only thing separating me and this gentleman I'm fighting is a wire fence with the Santa Ana freeway, and I didn't even care. And we're bloody at this time, fighting one another. Marvin comes out with the Bible in his hand, crying and saying, "Prince, not you, Prince." He saw it all unraveling at that point. And that's what brought it about, because he had already agreed that he would stop the things that he was doing, and being at the house was the way to do it, because sexual healing was so big that other areas and rehabs and things would not have been the right place to go. He just didn't see it happening that way, unfortunately. And this is what led us to what's going on right now. And but I'm still holding on, and I'm still remembering the things that he and Uncle Frankie taught me. And why they put me in the family, Ron, was because of this very fact.
Yes.
When I very first got with him, everybody else was going to him talking about what they can do, who they are, and how bad and how great they are. And I went to Marvin before Uncle Frankie came into the room and told him, "Teach me. Will you please teach me the things that you know? Will you teach me how to do this the right way, so that I can be helpful to the people that witness what it is that you are teaching me?" And he got floored by that. I think I sent you the newspaper article where Uncle Frankie mentioned that in the newspaper article, that I was so green at the time, but he and Marvin loved me like a younger brother. Not blood, but a surrogate younger brother.
Yes.
As I mentioned before, my mother and his mother talked many times about me and my purpose of being there. And my mother told Miss Gay about how I was as a spiritual young man. That's who I was. But Marvin saved my life. And all I could do was think about that before I went out with Rick James, man. Do I do this, or do I help save his son's life? Yes. I chose the family. And so I'm a big brother to little Marvin, just like Marvin was a big brother to me.
Yes.
I love him with all my heart. I love his entire family with all my heart. Something that he asked me to be protective of.
Right.
Because, Ron, whether you know it or not, on the tour, the Asian tour that we went on, I was his lead male dancer. I was also his personal choreographer.
Yes.
Yeah, we had just created a dance called the Rock during the time, and the West Coast wasn't doing the Rock, the East Coast was. And when we brought it to Marvin, it just went through the roof at that particular point, the dance. So I went out on tour with him as a dancer. And on my webpage, SesilJ.com,
yes,
SESILJ.com, SESILJ.com. On that, you'll see a photo of him and I, and he's up front and I'm right there behind him as we dance, as a background dancer for him. And at the time, he had me working security. I wasn't big as a wet noodle, but he had me working security. Why? Because this was his way of allowing me to learn. I could go anywhere he went. I could see him no matter where he went.
Yes.
You see? And that was how I ended up meeting the Prime Minister of Japan. I met the Prime Minister of Japan because I could go from one side of the hotel to the other when most people couldn't.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Sesil, I hate to say this, but we got to cut it. We got to go.
I do understand.
I know this is a short time. Please keep in touch. You and I keep in touch.
We will.
Both have a lot in common with Marvin Gaye. That's all I can say.
We will. I will stay in touch with you. I promise that. And, and I want to say to everyone out there, please go to our nonprofit organization, TBOC.
Yes.
The TBOC webpage is TBOC, stands for Take Back Our Children, and then benefitconcerttour.com. tbocbenefitconcerttour.com. And that was an initiative by Marvin and Anna Gordy to tell me that my goal is to help our children. And that's what I've done. I took many to the General Assemblies and did things with the kids. Mitzi Elliott and all the others came from those ventures down in Virginia. And I'm hoping that you go to the webpage. The email address is Take Back Our Children, which is TBOC2024@gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you for being here. It's a special occasion. Yes. Marvin Gaye. Remembering Marvin Gaye as the Prince of Soul and Prince of Motown. Wish you well in carrying on his name, the last protege of Marvin Gaye.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sesil Jenkins. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony, if you would. We would like to let you know that we're asking our Actor's Choice squad to help us get former basketball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Curt passed away January 20th, 1997. All you got to do is give a call to our office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. Okay? Sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Roll it, Tony.
You got that?
Yeah.
Don't drop it.
Heavy. I don't want to bore you or take your time. You can read through the small print if you'd like, but I've drawn it up the way that your daughter requested it.
Can we wait on this until my daughter gets here?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest today has been involved in the creation of new performance work as a choreographer, director, writer, performer, and designer over the years. His own work includes Alligator Tales, Little Monsters, and in the Odyssey Theater, Threshold of Invention serves. He's returned to the Odyssey, yes, to play again, to get on that stage again. He's doing a play called what's that word? Stalin Masterclass, which starts today, April the 1st, throughout May 26th. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jan Munroe. Hi, Jan. How you doing, buddy?
How are you?
I'm doing good, like a man should. Should be good. Today, as you heard the gentleman who before me, today is the day Marvin Gaye got killed. So that's a guy who is behind him. So
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yep. We want to, it's a lot of things going on in the world today, and let's talk about you as an actor. How'd you get into this business?
Oh, well, how did I get into this business? It's more of a question of how do I get out of this business?
No.
No. It's, you know what? I have just always been, my father used to run a theater many years ago in Atlanta, Georgia. He taught at Spelman College,
yes.
where his students were a then unknown Sam Jackson, Billy Nunn, Richardson, and on it went. And so I kind of I grew up kind of around it a bit, but I was not really particularly interested. And then, at a point in my life, I turned to it, and it's been fascinating. It's been a fascinating, interesting life. What else?
Got you. If you go up on IMDb, all I can see is not his theatrical work. All you can see all the other work that he does, TV and film. This guy's takes you all the way up to what, almost 90 about now? It's about that time, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even know when IMDb came into creation. When it got created, but I've been at it since I first came to LA with a group called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo in 1972. And that was then a very early version of a band that became the Oingo Boingo. But it was a theater company then. And it was a crazy, wacky circus mix-up, mash-up of mediums and activities, and everybody was playing music and breathing fire and running around and walking tightropes. And that was with the Elfman brothers, Rick and Danny. And Danny Elfman has since, become kind of a major composer for most movies that are being done, it seems. His name is everywhere. So, I've been at it for a while in all sorts of different forms and different ways, not specifically acting, but in performing and in creating as well. So, I've just kept my hand in.
Yeah. By the way, while you had your hand in it, what you think about this AI they got these days?
I think it's very dangerous, personally. I think it's very dangerous, and I think it's going to cause, I think we had cause to have such a long strike.
Yes.
Because I think that it had to be addressed immediately. I have had people before all this. It was in a movie called Ford v. Ferrari, in a very small role, but they said, "Would you please step into this room and get your image taken?" And I was like, I've got to go to the bathroom right now. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes. And I never went back.
Good.
Said, no, I don't know what this is, and I'm not going to do it. But obviously what they're doing was generating AI images.
Oh, goodness.
To insert into the film, or insert into some film. And I said, I'm just not going to say this is okay until I talk to my union. And I'm really glad that the union stood up. And I know we've had some problems lately, but they stood up on this issue and with this issue. And it was a much needed thing to be unified against. So anyway.
Jan, that was what you said. I never came back. I never came back. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. You are here today to speak about a play that you are in, Stalin's Masterclass.
Right.
Tell us about it, sir.
It's a play by David Penal that's being done at the Odyssey Theater, where it was first done here in Los Angeles. And he's an English playwright, but it was first done in Los Angeles at the Odyssey 37 years ago. With a man playing Gene Donarsky, and a few other people. And one of those cast members is actually in this show, too, playing the same role 37 years later.
Wow.
But, that's Randy Lowell, who originated the part of Shostakovich, who was the composer. And, so it's a fascinating experience. The plot is basically Joe Stalin, who was the head of the dictator that ran the Soviet Union for many years, and his culture minister in 1948 actually held a conference about how they can straighten out Soviet music. And they called Shostakovich and Prokofiev on the carpet. And Prokofiev wrote Peter and the Wolf. I mean, any number of huge classics that most people know, saying like, you guys have to write better music because it's not good for the Soviet people to listen to this dissonant stuff. It's causing people to be sick and go crazy. So you have to start writing some folk tunes.
Yes.
And so it's basically this kind of wacky mishmash of, this authoritarian group telling the artists to behave better. And artists never behave better. They can't. It's not in their nature. So anyway, that's basically what the plot is, and it's very moving. I don't know anybody else. My family, my mother was from Prague and got out in 1946, and never could go back because she left without permission. And so I was sent to be her, to see my grandmother and meet my cousins and my uncle. And so I've spent time behind the Iron Curtain, and I remember what it was like. And it was grim. And this grimness and this authoritarianism and this, what we're seeing today in Putin's Russia, where people are just disappearing for no reason whatsoever and being sent off to some penal colony because they're simply being dissidents and saying, we don't agree with you. That's enough to get you shipped off someplace.
Gotcha.
And this is kind of what the play is about. That's part of what the play is about.
I can feel how you feel and a little bit about how you feel. It's yeah. And as an actor, because you've done a lot of that, you do a lot of stages. I'm told stage plays, things like that.
I do. I like to keep busy. And you
Yeah.
know, I don't know that there's anything you really can do to control your on-camera presence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can audition, and learn, not show up drunk at the audition. I mean, that kind of helps. But other than that, there's really not much you could do about getting an on-camera job. But in the theater, uh, it's a 6-week process, not a 2-day process. If you are lucky enough to do a play,
Mm-hmm.
you spend 6 weeks to 3 months with this group of people, and you go through the process of learning the lines, deciding the best way to deliver the lines, how this will work, how it will flow, and how it will connect. And it's a much different rehearsal process than TV and movies, which is basically you get dropped in for a day or 2 days or 3 days, and then you disappear.
Yeah.
And you're not even quite sure how your scene fits in with the overall scene of the movie. So it's yes, I do. Yeah, I do a lot of theater. Yeah, I do, and I also do a lot of theater as a designer, because that's one of my other skills is designing and constructing sets and props. I've done some writing, so it's just I like to keep busy, and so I keep myself occupied.
Got you. What's your role in this play?
I'm playing the composer Sergei Prokofiev, who is he wrote Peter and the Wolf. Uh, at this point in his life, he had had a stroke, and so he had a problem playing,
Yes.
and he was still being called on the carpet for the work he had not done, basically. Um, so that's who I'm playing. I'm one of the composers who's being called on the carpet by Joe Stalin and his cultural minister,
Mm-hmm.
being told we're not doing good enough of a job to the music we're making is not, pro-Soviet enough.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, Tell us a little bit more about the cast. You mentioned how many cast members are
There are 4 members. There are
Uh-huh.
4 actors on stage, and then there's one musician who's behind a screen. Because there's a lot of music that goes on and a lot of faux piano playing, and she's actually playing behind us.
Uh-huh.
And we're pretending to play the pieces, which are very complicated, classical pieces.
Right.
Except for the one character who's playing Shostakovich, which is Randy Lowell, who did the original production in '87.
Uh-huh.
He is a very fine pianist. And so he actually is playing the Shostakovich pieces live on set. So it's very exciting to listen to.
Got you. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. I'm just not quite sure where I see 2 images of you, so I'm not quite sure where to look.
Okay. We got a picture. I believe this is you in this picture. Can you put that up? Some guy, not this one, the next one after it. Or the last one. I'm sorry, and the next one. There it is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's me and John O'Keefe's Ghosts.
Okay.
Which was done at the Open Fist Theater we were doing this when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
And we were halfway through the run, and suddenly we didn't have a run anymore and everything shut down.
Right.
But yeah, John is an old friend from the Bay Area, and he's a wonderful playwright. And I've directed 2 or 3 of his pieces, I think. And this is then I was just acting in this one, and he was directing.
Wow. When I saw that, I said that was taken at another location.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been with it.
I get around. I get around, What else can I say?
But you're doing fine, doing fine. Now the play's gonna be held again, as we said, it opened up, the Odyssey Theater.
Right, which is on Sepulveda Boulevard. And do I have the address here? It is at, I'll tell you right now, where is the Odyssey Theater's address? I don't have it here. It's on Sepulveda between Olympic and Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
On the west side of the street, and it looks just like that picture.
Yes.
And we open up April 13th, and we close May 26th. And we're playing Fridays and Saturdays at 8, and Sundays at 2 o'clock. And then we have some scattered Wednesday performances as well, for some reason.
For those who like to see plays, and I'm one of them, and I go to the Odyssey Theater, for those, describe the Odyssey Theater. It's a very unique, like what they call an ensemble, but it's a unique property that you see there? Four
Well,
theaters in there.
it's three. It's actually three theaters.
Okay.
But they've had it. I mean, the Odyssey has been around for 50 years now.
Yes.
Not in that location. I actually did when I first came to LA the second time in 1980. I did a play at the old location, which was on Ohio and Santa Monica. Then they lost that to a Blockbuster Video,
Yes.
and they got this facility, which I think was something to do. I think it was a municipal parking garage or something.
Yes.
And the city made a deal with them that they could have it as a theater on a 30 or 40-year lease.
Yes.
So they went to work and they redid it and completely fixed it up. And they've been running plays there since I want to say 1990.
Wow.
90, in that location. So that's 34 years. But they just recently celebrated their 50th anniversary of existence.
Got you.
As a group. And with Ron Sassi as artistic director.
All right. April 13th through May 26th, the address 2055 South Sepulveda, as I call it, Sepulveda Boulevard here in Los Angeles. Please go see it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a doggone good play. I heard some words about it. Go see it. And it's for you, gentlemen, sir, your publicist, Lucy Pop, give her my best. What a lady. What a lady.
All right.
And anytime we're around actors, I always say, break a leg.
Well, thank you very much. And when you come to see us, stop me and say hello.
Okay.
Looking forward to meet you.
Jan Munroe.
All right.
Indeed. Okay. Roll it, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, for more information about the TAC Row channel, please call us at 213-349-3941. It's 213-349-3941. Okay. Our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a marvelous lady. I gotta say that. And she ain't even paying me for that. I gotta tell it like it is. She's a return visitor, of course, to the Actor's Choice. But when you know a little bit about this lady, here's the deal. She's an accomplished singer, actor, director, and an award-winning teacher. Her performances, get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen, her performances career spans more than 30 years.
Which is weird because I'm only 35. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sorry. Gave it away. Sorry. It includes regional opera, symphony, concert, music theater, cabaret, and theater critic. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, she's this beautiful lady. Without any further ado, I give you Victoria Lavan.
Oh, thank you so much, Ron. It's great to see you again. Yeah, you're looking well.
It's your lady. Thank you. Please tell us where you were born.
I was actually born in Compton, California, but I grew up in Chicago, Illinois.
My goodness. So what made you want to get into this business?
Well, I think it picked me. It's just I have loved singing and performing from the time I have memory, like even as a small 2-year-old child, just singing. And it's really the only thing I've ever really wanted to do. And it just, the voice, being able to produce voice, being able to study voice, being able to use my voice, help other people use their voices is endlessly fascinating and deeply, deeply rewarding.
Right. You mentioned your voice, so I came with a couple of questions I got to ask you because you know what it's all about. How do you practice? And one of the most that's an important skill for people in your speak. Young singers. Okay, here's what I'm saying. What do young singers must acquire?
Oh, I say this almost every day. They must fall in love with the discipline of practice and rehearsal. Everybody wants, it's the discipline of craft, actually. Everybody wants to jump on stage and be expressive, and that is artistry, and we all hold our artistry very close to our hearts. It's very, very important. But without the skill set that craft allows us to have, our artistry is actually limited. So the first thing that you have to really come to terms with is falling in love with the discipline of practicing craft. Just like a dancer, just like an actor.
Yes, but singing is different. I mean, I teach broadcasting over at Santa Monica College.
Yes.
And when you tell people how you suck air into your body, pass down here and gets down in your what do you call those guys?
In your lungs.
Your lungs. They hang around for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then it's a composition that the brain is telling you want to talk.
Right.
That's what happens. You know it. Tell us about it.
Well, that is the process. It's neural pathways that allow us to make those sounds, but the vocal mechanism itself is a series of muscles, cartilages, ligaments, and spaces. And we actually have the ability to isolate those vocal parts and then to strengthen them, condition them, but it also gives our brain the understanding of what's moving when and how. And we then have the ability to combine and coordinate those vocal parts to make any sound that you want to. You think about voice actors, you think about pop singers, you think about opera singers, any genre really, especially in contemporary times. It's really expected that anybody that is a vocalist using their singing voice is going to be absolutely as versatile as a voice-over artist who might be in a studio in a booth doing character work.
So what do you do to protect your voice?
I'm actually pretty vigilant about that, and I'm a big vocal health educator. I call it voice care, professional voice care. And so eating well, hydrating, and doing lots of sirens, doing lots of semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, which would be used with straws, or you could use them without straws. It's a very, very prominent way to use your voice, to condition your voice, to cool down your voice. I make sure that I don't speak in loud environments.
Okay.
I make sure that I get proper rest. For me personally, that's a big deal. And I do think that probably first and foremost for everybody that is a professional voice user, self-knowledge is your greatest superpower. Some people are able to talk for 12 hours and then sing for 4, and it just doesn't bother them. Those people are usually young. Because as you get older, your body says, wait a minute, we don't like this anymore. I know you know that, right? But you need to know what your own parameters are, and you need to honor that, and you need to listen. Listen to what your body's telling you. You need to really pay attention to your emotions. People discount that. You know, your emotional self, the amount of stress that you're under, absolutely is reflected in the voice. The secretions at the vocal folds themselves actually change when a person is under stress or has performance anxiety or something like that. So, the body is the carrying case for the voice itself. So it's total self-care and awareness and self-knowledge. And then again, practicing it.
Victoria, when are you going to write a book about what you just said?
There are so many books about what I just said.
Is your name on those boxes?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's on my list.
All right. Right. Last year on December 10th, at the Theater West, you put together a musical event called what's that? So Many Stars?
Oh, So Many Stars. Yes. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful show, and what a privilege to be able to work with those artists. It was a holiday show with very little holiday music in it, which seems a bit like an oxymoron, but what I wanted to do was not focus in on the holidays itself as to focus in on humanity and what human beings experience in an overarching way, whether it's the holidays or not. And it was extremely well received. We, of course, did some Christmas songs. We did some Hanukkah songs. We did pop songs, and the singers were just incredible, incredible singers. It was very, very well received. Yeah, there they are.
And there you are down there on the bottom left there.
Yes, there I am. That's right.
You do this every year.
So far, yeah, 3 years running.
And you
Yeah.
have a special reason why you do it.
Why I work with Theater West, or why I work with, well, why I work with Theater West. Theater West is the longest running professional theater company in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And beyond all of the many accolades that I could list off about Theater West and the beautiful original work that's come from it, the major artists that have walked through its doors and developed work there, and they're major artists that have walked through those doors, not the least of whom was Betty Garrett, who has, may she rest in peace. But the reason I work with Theater West is because it is a community of committed artists who are committed to creating the best work they possibly can and to making the world a better place through the work that they create. They are inclusive, they are caring, they struggle, they fight hard, they love hard. and the art that gets put up on that stage is reflective of that. So I'm a part of Theater West because of the community of people that make up what Theater West actually is.
A lot of, where do you get all of these people to who are going to be singing on this play?
In my show, or in So Many Stars?
In So Many Stars.
In So Many Stars, there, some of them were from Theater West, but others were students of mine, students who have graduated from AMDA College for the Performing Arts, which is where I teach. They were very generous and hopped up on stage and gave their best performances ever.
Here it is. Well, it's April today, April Fool's Day indeed.
It is April Fool's. I forgot.
And the first guest we had in the show today, he knew Marvin Gaye.
Oh, wow.
He was a protege. He was a protege.
Oh my, wow.
So, yeah, just talk about these things. There's another guy who died 2 or 3 days ago. I have a lot of. I'm very happy. I'm sad about that, but I love that man. He was a great. Louis Gossett is his name.
Yes, Louis Gossett. That's right. I read that. That is a sad passing indeed. He was a young man.
Yeah, he was. He was 87. He actually made it to 87.
I got to tell you, that's young to me. My father's going on 92. Yeah.
Ooh, how do you do? Oh God. What's next for you? What are you doing?
I am doing a show called Dance Me to the End of Love, My Love Affair with Music. And this is going to be a one-night only fundraiser at Theater West for the music programs at Theater West, so that we can continue holding the workshops and so that we can continue to produce and perform during the holidays, our holiday show.
Okay. And
I again have my 5-piece band, Jim Varley on drums, Bill von Ravensburg on bass, the amazing Peter Snell on guitar. My music director and keyboardist is James Lent, and then the amazing Mara Wells on the chromatic harmonica. So the band is all there. The songs are just delicious. I am loving rehearsing this show. It has been a true pleasure to put this program together, the song list. It's everything from Leonard Cohen to Stephen Sondheim to Obradors, who is a beautiful Portuguese composer, and all the way to the Eurythmics, Annie Lennox and the Eurythmics. So the music is varied and interesting, and it really follows the arc of how music has been the constant theme through my life. No matter what's happened to me, good days, bad days, high times, low times, music has been there to hold me up and to keep me going. And it's just been such a joy and such a privilege to, I can't imagine a life without music. I don't know how anyone could live a life without music. Our memories are locked into music. You can hear a song on the radio and start to smell the place that you were in when you first heard it. It's just such a strong memory keeper. So yeah, I feel really, really lucky to have that kind of a connection to something as amazing as music.
Oh, Victoria, a blessing for you for being here today. and definitely continue what you have been doing all these years.
Oh, Ron, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you and speak with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Can't wait when you come back. Can't wait for you to come back again.
I can't wait either. You take care.
You do the same, my dear. You
Thank
do the
you.
same. Want to thank
Bye-bye.
bye now. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography for Any Art, Ron Irvin's Lose Weight, Larry Buford, Look Up the Future, Time, Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm Agent Carla Green, veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training Facility and Actor Space. Much thanks for our guest today, entertainer, singer, dancer, Sesil Jenkins, actor John Munroe, and actor-director, singer Victoria Lavan. The Actor's Choice is a presentation of B&B Productions. Rudolph Brewington is the president, and Sydney Chandler, she's our executive producer. Special thanks to our ever growing audience. I'm Ron Brewington. Be well. See you next time.